Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a quick little, well, probably not quick, a craft with me. We're going to do some jelly printing. I haven't done it in a while. My plan is to, going forward, I tend to make jelly prints and then I don't end up doing anything with them. I mean, sometimes I do, most of the time I don't. 75% of the time I don't. So I am now creating jelly prints with a project in mind. So these jelly prints are going to be used to make some mixed media flowers, grungy flowers. So I've got a variety of supplies. I've got some, you can't see them, but I've got golden fluid acrylics. I've got high flow, golden high flow paints. I've got some inks. I've got some Master's Touch acrylic paint, and I've got some golden artist acrylic. I've got a couple of brayers. I've laid out the area over there with a bunch of space to lay out my prints. We're going to be printing on some deli paper. I have not tried this yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it. So that's one. I've got some 40-pound paper that we're going to try, and then I've got some 20-pound. I've got way more here than I need, and I'm going to kind of spread them out here so that I can just really easily reach for them without too much issue. I'm going to move my mouse. It's a risk. Let me get it up there so it's out of the way. There we go. So there is our deli paper. And then this is our 20-pound paper. Again, way more than I need. I just grabbed a stack. So I am going to get going. I've got, you can't see it, but I have over here, I have a 5x7 plate that I'll just be using to, well, maybe I will do this a little differently. Hold on. I haven't done this in a while, so let's see if we can be a little bit more deliberate here and get both of these plates up here on the mat so you can see it, and then I'm going to get some paper down here for brayering off. So I've got some white paper over here. Okay, without further ado and yakety yakking, I've got two brayers, really messy, not cleaned at all. I don't know what I did the last time, but that's okay. So I'm just going to set those up there. Well, set them somewhere. It's always hard. This is a much messier kind of project than I usually do. So I'm learning as I go, you guys. I watched a tutorial. Unfortunately, it was in another language, so I couldn't really understand what she was saying, but I was trying to follow some of the logic in terms of the colors and stuff that I was seeing. So I don't know a lot about jelly printing. When I have success, it's usually happenstance. It's like, oh, happy surprise. I didn't intend that. So I am going to be thinking about this bottom layer being the layer that's going to be on top in my jelly print. So that's my understanding. So I do want to make a little bit of some ephemera for my Paris Rose journal, which are kind of in these colors is the primary color. This is a all ocean green, and that's not a true Viridian. Viridian is that awful color. It mixes beautifully with other colors to make other colors, but it's not a pretty color on its own. So let's go ahead and start with the lighter ocean greens here. So hopefully these are open. Oh, they're not. Let me just make sure these are open and I will be right back. That is just silliness. Okay, so that being said, this will be a two-part video. So in part one, we're going to go ahead and do all of our prints. In part two, well, it might be three parts. We'll see. In part one, we'll making the prints. In part two, we're going to add some mixed media stuff to it. So probably some texture paste, some stamping, some other things to create a lot of interest in the papers. And then in the third part, or maybe depending on how long these go, we'll be doing the flowers. And I'm just gonna, I've never done it before, you guys. I'm just gonna try something brand new. And I'm just gonna tear them by hand and just make, or I might use, I don't know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna make some grungy flowers and they'll be layered, multi-layered, probably 3 layers. And so that is kind of the thought process. Hopefully by the time I get to that part, I'll have some random inspiration to help me know where I'm going, because this is completely off the cuff. So, and here we go. So I'm going to start with this ocean green. Oh, that's a lot. And how about we go ahead and go in with the other one too. This is the Viridian. That looks more like a teal to me. So this video, by the time I was done, was over an hour long. So I'm just shrinking it up a little bit because you don't need to see every little detail. So here I'm just coming in with those tones of green. That is the Ocean, and I believe it was called Ocean Green and Viridian. As I was commenting before, the Viridian looks very teal-like to me. And I am working on 2 plates. I'm working on a 5x7 and an 8x10. And I'm going to use some stencils here. These are some masks that are leaves from SeanPetite.com. And I want to preface this whole process by saying that I wasn't really concerned about the end result of any single print, because this is just a base to start off our mixed media work to create these grungy flowers that I was talking about in the introduction. So we're going to be adding paint to these. We're going to be adding texture, probably texture paste, crackle paint maybe, stamping and such. So I wasn't real concerned about it. Some of them turned out beautiful, and you'll be able to see that as we go through, as well as you'll see my thumbs up and a big smile if you could see my face. So some of them were epic and were beautiful. I will say I was not impressed in this case with the this paper, this deli paper. It didn't really give me, I mean, maybe I didn't do it for long enough, so I probably need to dedicate a session just to experimenting with the deli paper. But I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to the music for a bit and watch what's going on here. Now I'm going to come in with this stencil. I will list the stencils I used. I won't be listing every color of paint because it depends on what color scheme you're going for, but I will list the stencils just because I just love them, and I think that you will love them too. They are from SeanPetite.com. She is a mixed media artist and a fantastic creator, so I will link those in the description box, or in the supply list rather. And so this is what I was getting. I think that transparency was really what was throwing me. I wasn't expecting that, even though I know that deli paper, that's why we use it. But now I'm going to come in with a little bit more of that ocean color. And this is a texture plate I believe from Carabel Studios, and I love it. I only brought out a little bit of my jelly printing supplies. I have quite a bit more, but I wanted to keep it really simple. So this is one of my favorite kind of Mandela impressions. So really, really cool. And it shows up in a lot of the prints because it was really pretty, and I think it goes with what we're trying to create here. I have no idea how to do these grungy flowers. We're gonna learn together. I liked that one, but it just didn't have enough flair. So will you be using that as a really nice base, the one that I just set aside? And that is my cobalt teal and golden fluid acrylic. And again, that ocean breeze, that is the Master's Touch acrylic. I think part of my struggle in this process today was that I was trying to work with too many different color combinations because I had a couple of journals in mind, one being the Paris Rose journal that has that kind of green color, and then I was also thinking of just pure grunge for some of the flowers, as well as I am doing a fairy journal using the Fairy Magic Kit from My Porch Prints, and I'm definitely going to be introducing a lot of mixed media techniques in that journal. So, and that one was okay. I will probably just cut those out and use them kind of for fodder for clusters and things like that. Wasn't really happy with that. And again, coming in with that very same stencil, you can probably tell I love it. So if I do this in the future, I would probably stick to a set color combination rather than trying to jump around as I did today. I felt a little bit lost in the process. This is my Golden Fluid Acrylic Iridescent Gold Fine, and I love putting it into jelly printing, and I also love to use it when I do coffee dyeing, which is similar process that I'm doing here, where I use stencils and acrylic inks and things like that, and that acrylic ink bumps into the boundaries of the stencils, and it's really gorgeous. So this one was really pretty as well. I probably should let you see the reveal before I say that. Voiceovers are always tricky, aren't they? So this one was really light, but I like it. It's going to be a great, I didn't add any more to this as we moved along. That's going to make a great start to whatever we're going to do in the future. Some of those lighter ones, I might come in and do a little tea staining or coffee staining on it to get rid of some of that, the white. And that is transparent. That is a high flow transparent red iron oxide. And apparently it had not been opened. I'm squeezing it, trying to figure out why I couldn't get anything out of it. So silly. And the high flows worked okay because they are an acrylic, but my inks did not. And I don't know why I thought that they would. I've used them before, but every time I tried the raw umber, the transparent raw umber acrylic ink, or the pink acrylic ink, it was just a bomb. It doesn't have anything to adhere to on the plate, so I thought maybe with some acrylic paint on the base it would, but it was really not very effective. Not a big fan of this bleached titanium. It feels really kind of gloppy and just really kind of hard to work with. I think I need to get a more artist acrylic in that color, because it's really frustrating for me to get globs of paint that I can't really spread out. And as you can see, I am going back and forth with papers and going from the larger plate to the 5x7 plate just to grab as many prints as I can. And so that one was okay. Again, a great base, but not really what I was looking for. And I always forget that when I pull a print through the stencil like I did before, when I pull this print, I'm not going to get very much because it's all been removed in the center. Oh no, this one was okay because it left all of that's yellow ochre there on the base layer, and that actually was really pretty. I must be thinking of another one, so my apologies, guys. Going in with another print over that plate. And that one was okay. Again, it doesn't have enough grunge for me, but I'm trying to think differently about what I was going for here, and that is I just wanted some bases to start with. Got some color down, have some play with the jelly plate, which is always a good thing, and just have a good time, see what I came up with. And so it was a win-win in that regard. I tend to create with a end product or a picture in my mind about how I want things to turn out, and they often don't. And so I was trying to remind myself as I was going through this that we're just creating backgrounds. It's going to be okay. I'm not a jelly printer. It's not my strength. I play with it, but it's definitely not something that I have honed or anything. I even watched tons of videos and I can't seem to get the same effects. I think I'm impatient because I know that there's techniques where you can go in after each layer is dried and pull one really, really awesome print, but it just doesn't come to me. I'm not sure. I think it's the fact that when you're doing jelly printing, everything is backwards. So the first paint that you put down on your plate is going to be the top layer on your print. And so I have a really hard time, I've mentioned before, just thinking backwards like that just is really hard for me. I'm going to let you watch here for a few minutes just as I continue to play on these two plates. That one was really pretty. I did end up just leaving it the way it was. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that print. I don't really want to destroy it, so I might use it for just some ephemera in the Fairy Magic journal. And then coming in with that, I believe that is the Ocean Breeze color, because I wanted that color combination of the purple with the teals and that kind of ocean green, because those are some of the tones that are going to go really well in the Fairy Magic journal. There's quite a bit of purple and lavender as well as pink in that journal, in that kit rather. Again, coming in with the Caramel Studio texture plate. And that was really interesting, not what I expected. And again, that's because I have a hard time thinking backwards, so I should have known, but I'm going to have to just sit down and kind of gorge a little bit on some more videos and see what I can find out and maybe slow down a little bit. I tend to rush. This one was gorgeous. As you saw with my thumbs up, we're definitely going to be using that for some flowers. And when we do these mixed media flowers, we may not use everything that there is there. And probably what I will do is in the next video, we will start ripping up these papers, and we may coffee dye them just to give a little bit more of a brownish undertone. That one was really pretty too. Very different. I don't think I did anything else with that print. But you know how when you coffee dye, you get those really crisp edges? That's kind of what I'm looking for when I make these flowers. So I may do some coffee dyeing. I may actually do that before I come back in video 2, just to be prepared for that process. So we will see. I can't remember what that first color was. I think I showed it when I held it up, but this is the yellow medium, I believe. Oh, the sap green hue. That is a fluid acrylic. The fluid acrylics work fantastic on the Gelli plate, and I believe the reason why they do is because the majority of them are fairly transparent. Not all of them, like the yellows are generally not at all transparent, but some of the pinks and some of the teals are really quite transparent, so they work well on the Gelli plate. This is the raw umber acrylic ink, and this just slid around on the plate, so you can see there it's really not doing anything. I think I expected that it would adhere a little bit to the plate, but it didn't. So I grabbed for my artist acrylic and the golden raw umber there, and just putting a little bit more of that thicker. It's a heavy body paint, so it's probably overkill on a Gelli plate, but I like to use what I like to use, and so that's what I do. I love to use my favorite products, and these are definitely some of my favorites. And again, the Caramel Studio texture plate. This was epic. This is my favorite print of all of them. I love the white. I love the Mandela texture plate. It was just perfect. Love it. So here, coming in with my cobalt turquoise again. That is a golden fluid acrylic. Doesn't take much. And this, I believe, is burnt orange. Let me look here. It is quinacridone burnt orange. It's also a fluid acrylic. And I love this, that color of paint, because it's really great when you want a really grungy look, as well as the teal. But when they mix together, this print got really, really dark. And I should have slowed down a little bit and thought about what I really wanted to do next, rather than kind of just steamrolling through the process, because this would have made an awesome print. It just needed a little bit more help. So just, I'm not really caring that I'm crossing over as I lay that paper down on that page. I really, really want to see what we can get out of it. But look at that texture and those colors. Absolutely gorgeous. So the 5x7 print worked out really, really well. And here I'm going to use the numbers jumbled. This is from Sean Petit. I am turning the stencil upside down so that on my prints the numbers are going the right way, in terms of they're not backwards. And again, trying that deli paper, and it just really didn't do anything for me. I probably needed to put a base layer on first, because this just put a bunch of numbers on there, which was fine, but it was not really what I had in my mind. So this is the cobalt turquoise again. It is one of my favorite colors, so you probably noticing I am using it quite a lot. And so this is where I forget. Often I'll take a print on top of the stencil, and that really doesn't give me what I'm looking for. So I believe on this print I do pull the stencil. Yeah, there we go. And because we had removed so much from the plate on the prior pull, this didn't really have the effect that it could have had, again, had I slowed down and kind of, I guess, had a plan. I mean, I'm not a jelly printer. I happen to have successful prints. It's not because I have some great technique. So so that one was just blasé as well, but that will be pretty in something. I'm not sure what. I'm thinking if we coffee dye some of these, they'll be really pretty. And that is the Ocean Breeze again. I kept looking at my table at what I was creating and really wanted to at least get some basis for some ephemera for the Paris Rose journal. So some of these I may not use for the grungy flowers, the mixed media flowers. I may use them for pockets and such in my Paris Rose journal, because I'm trying to get that finished. So. And I can't remember what this is called. I did look because I used it recently in a video, and this is from SeanPetite.com, but it is no longer one that she carries. So, excuse me, you won't be able to find that one. And I can't remember the result we got with this. It should have been a fantastic print in terms of the pattern, but I'm not sure what we got. We're going to find out together. It's just a great way to make some mixed media paper, even if you're not, your prints aren't fantastic. It's a great way to pull some. Now this one was really cool. This is probably one I will use probably for our mixed media flowers, our layered flowers. That will be really pretty. It will also be pretty coffee dyed. And again, not a big fan of the deli paper for this purpose. I need to probably just have a dedicated session to that. This, I believe, is the quinacridone burnt orange again. Or maybe I put that down. This is a high flow acrylic in teal. This is another Sean Petite stencil, and I can't remember off the top of my head, and right now it's in the kitchen sink, but I will link those as well. So that one was okay. Again, anytime you take a print on top of a stencil, you're really only going to get what's in the holes of the stencil, which again, I forget that for some reason. But again, they're great first layers for a lot of different kinds of projects. So I will definitely be using these. This one was epic. I absolutely love it. And I think I'm going to go through some of my other stack of jelly prints and see what I can pull from those to add to this stash for our grungy layered flowers. So we may do more than grungy layered flowers. We may do some other stuff. I'm not sure. We'll see how successful I am at making one. Never done it before, so we'll see. That is the raw umber again. That's and the teal, and then the burnt orange, the quinacridone burnt orange. So that's the three colors on the plate right now. That was a lot of paint, a lot of paint. So we need to rectify that in a hurry. And again, just a nice base layer there, not anything special. But the burnt orange and the raw umber make a great grungy, kind of rusty effect in a project. So they are excellent choices for colors. Again, turning that stencil upside down, or not upside down, backwards, so that the numbers print correctly on the page. And again, pulled the print with the stencil on it. I'm a slow wit, but proven. There we go. That's like the third one I did. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what world I was in, but coming in now with the raw umber. This is the golden artist acrylic that I was using before. And just going back over that so that I can get some of that paint in the stencil again, and then I'll be pulling the stencil off to pull that print. And I think I pulled a lot of other paint, so this one wasn't great either. So, but it's play, you guys. I'm a firm believer, at least in my studio, no matter what I'm working on, I'm not striving for perfection. I'm striving for fun. This one was okay, not fantastic. It's going to make a great base though. But what I was saying is, I think that when we enter our studios or our craft spaces, no matter what products we're using, no matter what mediums, no matter what our project is, if we're so focused on the perfect ending to the story of the project, then we lose the joy. I really think we lose the joy. Now, I used to be very perfectionistic. It was very hard for me to do something that wasn't what I had in my mind, but I have learned to embrace the imperfection because I'm so excited to just be present and be in the process and play and have happy surprises and make mistakes and learn, and it's all fun, in my opinion. So I would encourage you to just let go of any of those preconceived ideas and just play and think beyond the thing that you're seeing. There's always another layer that can be put on, especially with a jelly print, which I'm going to hopefully be able to show you in the next video. This one was really pretty too. I liked it. Was very neutral in terms of, well, it had some depth, but it wasn't really complex with a lot of design and stuff. So I actually liked that one. It was different. And then this is another Sean Petite stencil with a bunch of alphabet letters on it. And again, I turned that backwards so that when it prints, when I pull the print, it will be the right direction. So let's see, this one was pretty blasé in terms of the background, if I recall, but I'm going to go back in. I'm going to take the print off of another print. if that makes any sense. Goodness gracious. So it wasn't fantastic. We lost a lot of the definition in that one, but again, it will be a great base. So I hope that you'll come back in part 2, because if this one you're like this was terrible, like, okay, you got a few good prints, but what was the point? The point is it's a first layer, and I think we're going to have some fun in the next video when we start adding some texture and some other paints, some stenciling and things like that. I think it's going to be really great, and we're probably going to be really pleased with that process. So I hope that you'll come back. And this is the unbleached titanium, excuse me. And you can see there, it's just gloppy. I don't like it. It doesn't spread as well as the other paints, and I don't care for it. I don't care for it as part of a color in a print. I know it's a common color to be using when you pull, but I'm not a big fan of this, at least this brand. This one was gorgeous. I love it. There was some gold that I put in there. That was an epic print. You know, and I'm cool. You know, if I spend an hour and I get 5 good prints, I'm happy, because I will, those really, really pretty ones, I don't scan them because my scanner's lousy, but I will take a photo and I'll enhance the photo and I'll use it. I'll have a digital copy of it and be able to use that. So here's where I'm coming in with this light pink acrylic ink. What a joke. This was just so funny. Look at that. It just beads up. It didn't really go anywhere. It was so hilarious. I'm going to have to be reminded about how this one turned out, or what I did next, because, you know, it's been a couple hours since I did the video, so I forget very, very easily. We are almost done. We have just a few more minutes, and then I will let you go, and then you can join me in video 2 if you're interested in seeing what is next. I did really like working with the 2 plates. I think in the future I would prefer to have 2 8x10 plates. So this one was pretty as well. I loved that print. But I think I might invest in another 8x10 print plate, because it would be really nice to work back and forth between the same size plate, because it was really hard to get a print that was really usable on the 5x7. So you can use it for ephemera and, you know, again, fodder, or you know, things you're going to tear up and make clusters out of and whatnot. So So you can see it's really subtle, but I think very pretty. That's another one I think would be really beautiful coffee dyed, but we will see. I probably won't do that on camera just because it's pretty time consuming, but I'll have those ready. If I decide to do that, I'll have some of the prints ready for some coffee dyeing, or maybe I'll take my photos, keep the originals as they are, and then we'll go from there, because I want to make sure that I bring you along for the ride. And again, came in with the raw umber, the transparent raw umber acrylic ink, and you can see what it's doing there. What a joke. I easily forget. But I can laugh at myself, right? You know, like, that's important. Oh, some things are just stuck in my head, you know. It's hard to change patterns and change the way we think. I use acrylic inks a lot in mixed media, so I think I just forget, you know, the technique that I'm doing. It doesn't always work with acrylic inks, so even though they're one of my favorite mediums. So we are coming to the end of the video, and so I hope again that you will join me. This one was pretty. I'm going to use that one in probably the Fairy Magic Journal. We'll see. But I thank you so much for coming by and watching and playing with me, and I hope that you learned something, or at least enjoyed the conversation, and look forward to the next step, because I think that will make all of this worthwhile. So I am just spritzing some water there on that other plate just to pull a little bit more off of there because it was pretty crusty. And I don't think I'm quite done, but I'm going to go ahead and set this to music, and I'm going to just let you watch. If you want to watch all the way to the end, feel free. There's just another minute or so. But, oh, here, showing you all the prints. That's what I remember now. So bringing these all back into camera so you can see them all in one fell swoop. So they are quite pretty. It's interesting when you look at one by itself. It's like, oh, that was kind of terrible, or that wasn't so great. But looking at them like one right after the other is really useful. So I think some of them turned out spectacular. I didn't like that one. Got a thumbs down. This is pretty. I don't think I'm going to do much with that. I might coffee dye it, but I think I'll save it for Ephemera for a journal. And that one was really pretty as well. And my favorite, #1. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.